This podcast is brought to you in part by PNP Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. In this episode of DeREZD, we have info on a new Batman game, some talk on the PlayStation 2, and news of many layoffs, which is very sad. All this and more in episode 6 of DeREZD. Everybody, and welcome to the DeREZD podcast. This is episode number 6. We're recording this one on Friday, March 7th, 2014. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me and leaning back and relaxing, Will Kelly. Will, how the hell are you?
Doing great, Lloyd. Good evening to you this fine evening, sir. I don't know what that was. It started going a direction, and then I just had to keep going with it.
And it's like, oh no, I'm sliding towards an open section of a bridge, and there's nothing I can do about it.
I'm just gonna let go and just see what happens.
Yeah, just
kind of like tonight's episode. I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen tonight.
Yeah, there's gonna be lots of stupidity and craziness happening, which could be enjoyable for all the people that are watching along at home. This one's going to be interesting. Got a lot of news, a lot of stuff to talk about. We got some feedback from you guys, the listeners, which I love. If you want to get in contact with us so that we can, talk, play, answer, whatever, you can do that as well. Email us at vgpodcasts@gmail.com. You can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505-VG-Podcasts, or bug us on Twitter. We love it. I'm at Dasme on Twitter. And Will, you're at
iLiam
on Twitter. He's an Apple fanboy. If you
That's right.
All right, well let's get into the show. Will, what's new with you, man? It's been 7 days since we last talked.
7 long days, and my heart has been longing for you, Lloyd. So I'm so happy we're back together once again.
Aw, the bromance has continued.
It is, to talk about our favorite things in the world, video games, all things video games. So I'm excited.
Nice. I am too.
Yeah. Do you have a good week?
You know, I did. I played a lot of games. I played a lot of games on a lot of different systems. So it was a good week. Even though we're getting so much snow. I hate it. I really do. And Will, do you have room on your couch? Can I sleep on that bed behind you?
It's still calling your name. I'll even buy you some like Denver Broncos sheets. Not that you'd want to.
Oh yeah.
Want to lay in that. But.
So I can. Oh, I won't say what I'm going to do to the bed. Just like the Denver Broncos.
Nah. If you make it down here, you can do whatever you want. That is my gift to you, sir.
Nice.
Hey,
nice.
So have you lived in Canada all your life?
I've lived in Winnipeg all my life.
So shouldn't you be used to this by now? It's like each week you complain to me, but I mean, I get it.
I'm not a hater of winter. I love winter. I love snow. I love cold. I love all that stuff. I love getting outside, skating, tobogganing, skiing, you name it. I love all that stuff. This is the worst winter I can ever remember ever happening. Even for when I was a kid, there's so much snow. It's been so bitterly cold. I'm not a complainer, but I am this year. I'm done. I'm so done. I can't wait for, actually it's supposed to be 0 tomorrow. So it's supposed to be like 32 degrees.
Warming up.
So, well, yeah, cause it's been like minus 40 for like the last 2 months. So this is a nice respite, a nice break from the chilling craziness. Might actually even get outside and get some vitamin D. It'll be a good thing. But yeah, so we have so much snow and now we're all worried about floods because all that snow has to go somewhere. So blah, I hate it. Don't want to talk about it.
When does it start warming up for you there?
It should be already warming up for us. Yeah, usually April. Usually by mid-May, like most years, we won't have any snow on the ground at all. I can remember years where April we've had like green grass and leaves on the trees. But yeah, this year, I don't know. It's probably going to be there forever. But like I said, but in the pre-show, I'm going to take some pictures and I'm going to send you because you won't believe how much snow we have. It's just ridiculous.
I'm like you. I love winter and I love snow and stuff, but that would get to me. So I do not envy you.
Yeah, the whole not able to leave your house because it's so freezing. Or this week, I got frozen into my house. All my doors froze shut, and I had to actually use a blow dryer for a half hour to get out. First time that's ever happened. I'm just
That's inhuman.
I'm convinced that someone wants me to leave Winnipeg for whatever reason. Maybe I'm too much of a Jets fan. I don't know what it is. And it's been ridiculous.
Well, at least it's good video game weather.
It is very good video game weather, and it's good weather to get feedback from our listeners. So why don't we jump right into that?
Let's do it.
Okay, our first one's an email, and this one's from Ben, and it goes, "Hello, Lloyd and Will. Really enjoying your podcast. I spent the past week listening to all 5 of them." I'm so sorry, Ben, that you had to put yourself through that in 1 week. We should have doctors, physicians' directions at the front. Do not take more than 1 in a 7-day period. I apologize in advance for not doing that. But anyway, I'll get back to your email. I like hearing about the PS4 games and news. Planning to get the system next month, although I'm a little jealous that Will gets to play Titanfall. Keep up the great work, from Ben. So Ben, thanks so much for sending that one in. You're getting the PS4 just in time for Infamous Second Son. Will and I were watching a live stream this week. I watched a good chunk of it. I got Will for the tail end, and all Will could talk about is how beautiful it looked. So, yeah. And that's from an Xbox One owner. So it's not just it wasn't just my fanboyism bleeding in or whatever, since I've been so high on the PS4 lately.
Yep, but that's okay. Like you said, I'm getting Titanfall, so jealousy can flow both ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I will be very jealous. I'll be watching all your streams. It's gonna be sad.
Well, that's just to hold you over until Second Son comes out.
Yeah,
and then I'll be doing the same. I'll like have Titanfall there, and then I'll have Twitch Snap just so I can watch you play Second Son.
Nice. We'll be watching each other play. Aw,
that's not weird at all.
That's so sweet. It's cute. We're gonna hold hands virtually while we play video games. It's gonna be great.
It's awesome.
All right, Ben.
Mind blown.
Awesome. Well, Ben, thanks for sending that one in. And we also have a voicemail. This one is from, I believe, Tim. The voicemail was kind of hard to hear and understand. So if I got your name wrong, Tim or Sam or Joe, if it was really bad, I'm not sure. I do apologize in advance, but here is a voicemail from Tim, I believe.
Hi, this is Tim calling for the DeREZD podcast. Leave a little comment or, I guess, topic here. I recently picked up a PS2 brand new from Amazon. Yes, they actually sell brand new PlayStation 2 Slims. They're $130 on Amazon. I picked one up and unboxed a brand new PS2. My question is, what are your favorite PS2 games out there? So far, I'm reliving my old Star Wars games, Jedi Starfighter and Starfighter. But what are your favorites? I owned one as a kid, but forget what the good ones were. What would you pick up if you got a brand new PS2 today? What games would you rush out to get? Love the show. Keep up the good work. Bye.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Tim or Stan or Ben or George, whatever the name was. I apologize that I didn't make it out in the voicemail. Let's get into it. So, Will, what were your favorite PlayStation 2 games? Name a couple. Name 2 or 3, and then I'll get into some of mine.
Yeah, and all I'm gonna say is 2 or 3. These aren't like my all-time favorites, but I feel like these are ones that may have been missed, or there hasn't been any re-releases, or the PlayStation 2 isn't going to. It's going to be the best version. Like, for example, I have GTA 3 on there, but that's just something that everyone should play, and I'm sure Tim has probably played that by now, so that's not going to be one of mine. But I want to start off, and this is in no particular order. The first one I want to start off with, and Lloyd, I'm curious if you've ever played it. Mm-hmm. It's a game called Stuntman. You remember that game?
Yeah, I do remember Stuntman. It was a great game.
It was a great game, wasn't it? And it was by the same group that made the Driver series, which is still one of my all-time favorite series. And basically, in the game, you are a stuntman, and you have to perform stunts in motor vehicles, mostly cars, and you have to kind of hit marks. And then it's really cool at the each one of these movies that you do the stunts for. At the end, it kind of like cuts all the scenes together and makes a little trailer for the game. So that's a lot of fun. So that's one of them. Another one that I really enjoyed, and I'm curious. The problem with a lot of these games, Lloyd, anytime we talk about anything, I would say pre last gen, so PS2, PS1, 64, and so on, is you always tend to see these games in rose-colored glasses, right? And so if you actually start playing it today, I'm not sure how the mechanics on some of these will be. Even Stuntman, actually. I mean, and it's just a driving game. So
Sure.
forgive me if this is one of those games, but did you ever play Silent Hill 2?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I played all the Silent Hill games.
So I think that was one of my favorites of the series. I remember it scaring the hell out of me when I played it. And it was, at the time, it was such a great departure from Resident Evil. So that's one I highly recommend. And I even looked up some video of it today, and the graphics held its own a little bit.
Nice.
So that's my list for now. What else do you have?
What do I have? I got a lot. I actually still have all my favorite games for the PlayStation 2. I traded in when I got my PS3. I traded in a whole bunch of stuff. I had bought a second PS2 and a whole box of games from an old listener of the PSP podcast when I did that way back in the day. So when I bought my PS3, I traded in a whole bunch of stuff, and I ended up getting my PS3 for like $50. It was ridiculous because of all the stuff that I traded in. But I still kept all the games that were my favorite. I have to say some of my favorite games are some of the really quirky ones on the system. One of the ones that I like to bring out is Katamari Damacy. Love that game, and I heart Katamari as well. I could pick this game up anytime, play it, and just have a stupid grin on my face from ear to ear. One of my favorite titles on the PlayStation 2. What else? Frequency. I don't know if you guys ever played Frequency. Actually, it's a pair, Frequency and Amplitude. These were rhythm music games. They're actually Harmonix's first games. So before Guitar Hero came out and was crazy, you had Frequency and Amplitude on it, which was they were amazing. So you were basically building tracks by flying a ship and hitting gems, similar to what you would do inside of Guitar Hero, where you're actually strumming on the beat. But this one had a whole bunch of great like electronic music, like I don't know, Crystal Method, Ronnie Size, Paul Oakenfold, even some like BT and No Doubt and some of that stuff, which was great. Amplitude was the newer one. This one came out after Frequency. It had stuff like Blink-182 and POD and Papa Roach and even David Bowie and Weezer, and it was just like this weird collection. Diesel Boy, which was one of my favorite artists at the time, and it was just, they were so good. If you have a chance to play these, if you haven't, check them out. And this is really kind of like the blueprint for what Guitar Hero was built on. It was like, okay, let's try this. Oh, this one worked. Okay, let's try to amp it up a little bit with Amplitude, no pun intended. And then that worked really well. And then they made Guitar Hero and basically won the internet for the longest time. It was really good.
That's awesome.
And then I don't know. It's a toss up. Like I like a lot of like weird things. I'm more of like I love the Metal Gear Solids, Burnout. Like one of the, I can't remember which Burnout game it was. I think it was Burnout 2. Before my wedding, we played Burnout as we're getting ready for the wedding. We played Burnout for about 6 hours. Me and all of my best men and my and stuff, my groomsmen. We played Burnout 2 while we were getting ready for the wedding. I mean, that's such
awesome.
It was such a huge game for me as well. Sly Cooper, the original Sly Cooper and the original Ratchet and Clank. I Ratchet and Clank is one of my favorite series of all times, and I still pop it in from time to time to play it, which is really good. Of course, Ratchet and Clank Going Commando is good too. And then, of course, Shadow of the Colossus is just a true classic. It basically made you feel like such a badass as you're climbing up these huge boss battles, and experiencing the story, which is really good. And then God of War. God of War was really good. The original God of War was just like, what the hell is this? How is this a thing? And how is it so awesome? And there's a bunch of other ones, like all the Metal Gears were great. A lot of the RPGs and things. The first Kingdom Hearts. I got a whole bunch still on my shelf that I just didn't have a chance to grab out. Yeah, a lot of really good games there. I'm looking at the chat room right now. You have Solidus Venom said Metal Gear Solid 3, which is obvious if you look at his username. Then we get like God of War 2, GTA Vice City. That is another one of mine. I love Vice City.
Me too.
Dragon Quest 7, or Dragon Quest 8 rather. Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4. What else? A couple other ones. Twisted Metal Black. Yeah,
that was a good one.
There's a whole bunch of really great games on the PlayStation 2. There's over 100 games that are just amazing, and they're kind of gems that started in that generation, and it's going to be kind of cool with a new system that you opened up, Tim, or Sam, or Fred, or Bob, whatever your name is. I do apologize. Yeah, there's so many games out there, and you could probably buy a game a week and not get tired of that console. It was such a really, really great system.
A ton. Do you remember Spy Hunter, the remake of Spy Hunter? That wasn't that great of a game, but
I remember playing it, and I remember it being horrible.
Yeah, I think I beat it in like a night, and then I was mad.
Nice.
The Splinter Cells, those are good.
Yeah,
I love Pandora Tomorrow.
Yeah, I was never a big stealth guy.
No,
but I appreciated them. Like the first time that I can't remember which Splinter Cell it was, but you're standing there on the side of the water and you're watching the waves come in. It's like night, and like the waves are coming in. It's like, holy crap, how does this look so real? Yeah. And then you look at stuff in like last gen. It's like, wow, what was I thinking on the PlayStation 2? And then now you look now, and it's crazy how real stuff looks.
Yeah. Can I add a few more on there? Just a few.
Yeah.
So the chat room also said ICO. That was pre-show. I'd never played that, but I still hear it's one of the most beloved ever, and still waiting for that sequel that's missing in action. Did you ever play the Armored Core series?
No, not so much. No.
So it was like
mech battles, right?
Yeah, mechs combined with Gran Turismo, because you could like upgrade the heck out of those things. Yeah, that was it. I had some more, but like, if you haven't played GTA's, any of the GTA's, I think a lot of people think San Andreas is the pinnacle one on the PlayStation 2. I don't know if you'd agree with that or not, Lloyd. I'm actually playing it for the first time on iOS now, so I can't really speak to that on PS2.
Yeah, I loved Vice City was my GTA.
That's because it had amazing music. It had like the best music of any of them.
I'm a child of the 80s, so like listening to that, and you hear Iran come on, and it's just like, oh, I always want to crank that and just listen and drive over the bridge repeatedly. Like the commercial for Vice City was just one of the best ads for a game ever for me. It made me like, I can immediately see myself in the game whenever I hear that song now, just because it's so iconic for when you're playing the game. Cool. All right. Well, Tim, hopefully we helped a little bit. Hopefully we didn't muddy the waters too much. Let us know how we did. Shoot us another voicemail. Send us an email at vgpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know if you picked up any of our recommendations and enjoyed any of them. There's so many good PS2 games. But if you're into rhythm and music games, you definitely have to check out Amplitude or Frequency. They were just so much fun. And I don't even know how I found them in the first place. I think there was a Frequency demo on the demo disc that came with my PS2. And I tried that, and I'm like, what is this? It's like Parappa the Rappa, but better. And then I went out hit every single store in the city to find it, and finally found it. And then shortly thereafter, Amplitude came out, and I bought it on day one and just loved it. And then Guitar Hero came out, and then the world changed. Music games were a big thing, and everybody loved them. So it was kind of cool to see kind of the genesis of that idea, and then get brought into what totally makes sense for a lot of people, which is like strumming on a plastic guitar, which was really good. Yeah. Trey Too Fast in the chat room says, "Why did you buy Thief then, Lloyd?" When I said I'm not a huge fan of stealth games. I wanted to play Thief because I remember playing the original one on my old like 486 or Pentium or whatever it was way back in the day. Splinter Cell, I just wasn't into that series for whatever reason, but I have a soft spot in my heart for Thief. Doesn't really carry over too much to this new one, unfortunately, but we'll get into that when we talk about what we've been playing later in the show. All right, man. Anything else to add before we move on?
I think that's it. Thanks again, Tim. That was a great question, and you really can't go wrong. I mean, there's so many good games for that system.
Yeah, and there's something cool about opening like a new in-box console from like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, how is this a thing? I guess it would be from about 10 years ago probably. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
I kind of want to buy one just for that reason alone.
Yeah, to smell the old plastic. Yeah. This smells like old console.
I'll never forget when the PS2 first came out. I was in high school and I didn't have enough money for the system, and so me and one of my best friends, we bought it together, and like we shared custody. And each week we spent like we'd go over there and play at each other's houses, but each week we'd be like, okay, now it's my turn, and that was your turn. And it's surprisingly, our friendship was not ruined.
Well, I was going to say, how long did you remain friends?
Yeah, somehow it worked out. Maybe because that was like we knew that was the only way we'd be playing, so we were patient.
Nice. Well, good.
Oh, that just made me think of another one, Time Splitters.
Oh, Time Splitters was so good.
That was a good game. That was one of the first games where it had like a level editor built in, right?
Yeah, for the console, that was definitely one of the first ones that I can think of. Yeah, I can remember playing Deathmatch on that forever and ever and ever and ever.
Forgot about that.
That was so good. So good. All right, cool. Well, let's move on. Let's get into our end of line, our big story of the week. This one hit us all by surprise. Actually, it was funny. Will and I were just chatting. We were iMessaging back and forth or whatever, and it was a day of like layoffs and people getting fired, and it was just like, what's happening? And the next thing you know, Jack Tretton, the boss of PlayStation USA, announces that he's stepping down, like out of left field. And we were chatting back and forth. It's like, how is this a thing? I mean, they just launched the best launch of a console pretty much ever, in PlayStation history anyway. Like 6 million PlayStation 4s are out there. They're selling out everywhere, and the boss decides to leave then. It was really bizarre.
I still don't understand it. I mean, I can't, unless he's been there since 1995. So prior to the original PlayStation launch. So he's been there through every success and failure of the Sony PlayStation brand. And the PS4 is undeniably a huge success. And so, I mean, my only speculation is he's done it, and he's done it well for so long, and he wants to do something else now. I mean, they said the split was amicable and it was mutual.
Yeah, and the quote, sorry to cut you off, in the statement that Sony sent out is, "This is a result of a mutual agreement between Mr. Tretton and SCEA not to renew their contractual relationship." That sounds really cold and odd. Like, it's just a weird way to put that. I don't know. It would be like, I don't know, like Steve Jobs when he was still alive, just deciding to leave the company. It's like someone that's been the face of PlayStation forever. Like, as far as I can remember, I mean, there was always a Jack Tretton, like even back to E3 last year, dropping the mic, like all the crazy stuff he did. I mean, he was a guy that I actually liked listening to at E3, where a lot of the other people weren't.
Well, maybe after he dropped the mic and then proved that success with the launch of the PlayStation, maybe he's like, I want to go out on top. And
been there, done that. retire, spend time with the family. Maybe, who knows? Or maybe it's sorry, I keep cutting you off, Will. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that they want someone that speaks Japanese, because Jack has always been one that doesn't he doesn't speak Japanese. And apparently the person that is taking over, what's his name? Sean Layden. He's going to be the CEO effective April 1st. He's the current VP and COO. His name's Sean Layden, but apparently he does speak Japanese, I guess, from some of the articles and stuff that I've read about it. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It's really kind of odd.
Trey Too Fast in the chat room is reminding us could be health problems or family issues, or like you said, just want to retire. I mean, we really don't know, and that's. I understand it, especially if it's privacy related.
Sure.
But again, it's odd the way they phrased it, and I think that's where it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it's a mutual agreement not to renew their contract. That sounds like he was caught in his office with something bad, or he walked in on something. Like it just seems like something that happens when someone is not really leaving on their own terms. Yeah. Kind of like Ballmer. It's like we both agreed that now is a good time for Ballmer to retire, but he didn't want to retire. He would have been there at Microsoft forever, right? Yeah. To me, that seems like what this is, but I don't know. Maybe the story will eventually come out, or maybe it's just a non-story. Maybe it's just awkward copywriting in whatever marketing office in Sony that wrote this statement that they sent out.
Now, Lloyd, does this worry you?
Not really. I mean, most of what Sony does is all Japanese, or all in Japan. It's like a very Japanese focus. That's where I guess the blueprint for Sony's success comes from. I mean, a lot of the North American stuff for Sony is more in line with their movie aspirations or their music aspirations. So that would be worrisome if like all of the VPs left. It'd be like, okay, what's happening with Sony? But this is just the guy that runs the gaming stuff. Well, it's not like it doesn't make Sony a lot of money. It probably is the only thing making money for Sony these days, since they don't really have TVs or stereo equipment that is like the top of the line that everybody wants anymore. To me, it's just he wanted to change a pace, or they wanted to try someone else with new ideas. I don't think it's too worrisome. I think there's enough execs in Sony that can keep the ball kind of moving forward to where they want it to go.
Well, that and he's leaving SCEA positioned well. I mean, it's not like it's a floundering division that the next person is going to have to try to fix. It's like, okay, things are working, and let's just make sure they continue to work. And
sure,
it's that maintenance at this point, as opposed to like building. So
yeah, I mean, it's not like he's leaving because of the network getting hacked, or the PS3 failing when it first came out, or the Vita not doing so well. It's none of those things that are causing him to get out. Because I mean, he was probably the most responsible person in Sony for making the PS4 presentation at E3 something that was like, oh my God, what is happening? Like up is down, left is right, like that type of thing. Like the internet blew up because of his presentation and how he paced everything and got that information out. So just kind of odd.
Yeah. Well, good luck to him, and hopefully everything is good, and Sony's going to just keep moving along.
Yeah, I really like Jack. Another thing that we were talking about when this news came out is maybe Sony's looking for more of a forward-facing person, because you have like Microsoft has Major Nelson, Nintendo has Reggie Fils-Aimé. There's someone that is kind of like the spokesperson that is out constantly, kind of spewing forth information and kind of evangelizing for their particular product. Sony doesn't really have one of those people, so maybe they wanted a CEO that was a little bit more willing to get out there and be that guy. Maybe, I don't know, because the only time you'd ever see Jack would be at E3, and then he'd kind of escape into the darkness, into his bat lair to come up with the next big invention that they're working on, I guess. Bizarre. All right, cool. Let's what do you say we get into the rest of the news there, Will?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, just to kind of follow up on the story that we touched on last week, with the huge sales that happened in the first week in Japan for the PlayStation 4, Sony finally announced their sales numbers, and the PS4 has shipped or sold more than 6 million units worldwide as of March 2nd. So, yeah, doing really good. And with that number, that means that the PS4 has now sold more consoles than the Wii U. Which is
crazy,
ridiculous and sad, because I bought a Wii U on launch day and I really wanted it to do a lot better than it did.
That's insane. I mean, that this number just keeps growing, and it's not losing steam anytime soon. I was in my local Best Buy Monday. It was the first time I'd seen PS4s in stock there. They had like 2 of them, so not a ton. But I was kind of surprised that it was at a big box and not. I mean, I'd seen it at Target here and there, but people don't always go to Target for like video game stuff. Yeah. And I was there tonight, and they were all gone. And I'm like, you know what? They're still selling, and I mean, they're still out of stock in a lot of places. And I think you can find one now if you really want one, but yeah, it's insane. It's insane that this far after launch, they're still in such high demand.
Sure. I remember last week I saw a tweet from Amazon Gaming. It's like, PlayStation 4 is now in stock. And I saw the tweet at like, say 10 a.m. or whatever. When I got home from work, I went and looked, and yeah, they're sold out.
They're gone.
It was like, okay, so did they get 5 or did they get 200,000 and just sell them all? Like, those are things you don't know, but it's either way would be understandable. Like I can walk into any store here and find an Xbox One, but I can't find any PS4s for some of my buddies that I know want one. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's good, but it's surprising that the PS4 is doing as well as it is when there's another equally as good console on the market with the Xbox One.
Well, you know me, and I do really love my Xbox One, and it seems like we talk about how well the PS4 is doing every episode. It's deserving. But I got to tell you a funny story that I just got to giggle to myself and wonder what if. So I read today that at GameStop, you can go in there and you can trade your PS4, and they will give you $498 trade-in credit. I mean, excuse me, $398 trade-in credit for an Xbox One.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's the cost of the system sans sales tax.
Yeah.
And they have so many brand new Xbox Ones they're trying to get rid of, and they don't have enough PS4s to get rid of. And so now they're like begging people for their used PS4s so they can resell them. I was just like, that's funny.
It's telling. And Microsoft is kind of scrambling right now, like locally here in Winnipeg. Future Shop, who's Best Buy, owned by Best Buy, and Best Buy up here is doing it as well. But for all of April, if you bought an Xbox One, you got a free copy of the Rayman game. So you got a free pack-in, which was, I mean, it's a $40 pack-in. It's not a $60 pack-in, but still it's a $40 price drop. But Xbox US announced that besides the Titanfall bundle, where if you buy that Titanfall bundle, you get the console and Titanfall for the same $500 price that the console itself would cost. But if you buy a normal console in the month of March, you get a free copy of Forza 5, right? That's the one. But you don't get Forza if you buy the Titanfall bundle. It's for every other Xbox One. So basically what they're doing is they're giving a $60 game to everybody that buys the console because they want people to buy the console. And it seems really early for a company to go into such a panic mode.
And it's not like they're trying to get rid of Forza copies either, because that game did really well, especially for being such a niche game. It's funny, you told me about the Forza news, and it kind of started a discussion of like, okay, at this point, are they just trying to piss off their existing their existing fans? Because that's all they're doing. I mean, if they don't, again, you and I, we kind of fall in the same camp as like, well, we got the console early, so that was a price we pay, and we're seasoned enough to accept that. But still, if they're giving away these consoles or these games to sell consoles, they could at least throw a digital download, even if it's something smaller, like a $40 game, like Rayman Legends.
Sure. A buddy of mine here in Winnipeg just bought an Xbox One. I think it was about just over 2 weeks ago, and he returned it because he didn't get a free game with his, and there was a 14-day return window.
Nice.
So he's going to be getting the Titanfall bundle when it comes out.
Good for him.
But yeah, it's like that is enough. Like, he bought it 2 weeks ago and he's like, well, screw you, Microsoft. I want my free game. So he returned it back to Future Shop because it was in the 14-day window, and he's going to be waiting like probably 2 weeks to get his Titanfall bundle because he returned it last week or something. So it's about a 2 week wait for him to get a new console, but he's willing to wait just to essentially save that $60. But I know a lot of people that are really upset. Like, online, the amount of anger from people that bought the system in the first month or two. It's like, wow, you bought a system early. Like, prices always go down. Like, it's not an investment. It's not like it's like a car. You buy a car, you drive off the lot, and you've lost money. And every time that you start your car in the morning, you've lost more money. It's the same thing with a console. Every day that ticks by, the console's worth less and less. There will be a price drop at some point.
It's a depreciating asset.
Yeah, totally. But people like to complain. So what are you going to do?
I think Forza is a good move, though. At first, when I was thinking about this, I was like, why Forza? I was like, anyone and everyone that would be buying an Xbox now would be getting the Titanfall bundle. But then I started to think, even though it's an accessible first-person shooter, it's still a first-person shooter, and it's
an online-only game as well. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people might not have online, and there'd be no reason to play Titanfall. Where Forza, I mean, at least you could play it offline. Like, you won't get the Drivatar stuff, but you could play it without being connected to the internet.
Yeah. Yep. Very much so.
Cool. So there's our PS4/Microsoft talk of the week. Tends to be something we do every week, so it's interesting.
It makes sense. I mean, we're so early in this console gen. It is going to be. I mean, until the war cools down a little bit, this is going to be the conversation because news is happening every week, and there's a positive and a negative generally for one of the two systems. And unfortunately,
these holy wars just make me laugh. It's like I don't understand why people are such on one side or the other. It's like a game system is a game system. But yeah, I mean, it's Mac and PC, it's Sega and Nintendo. I mean, it's happened forever, right? And I buy everything eventually. So I just happen to have bought the PS4 first, so I'm super happy that it's doing well. But if I bought the Xbox One, I'd be just as happy that the PS4 is doing well because I'd want PS4 games eventually when I buy that console.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, let's move on. Let's get into some sad news before we get into some more happy stuff. This week was the week of the layoffs. I mean, we're 2 weeks out from Irrational Games basically canning everybody. And this week we saw about 800 gaming jobs go away.
800. That is huge.
That's very huge. So first off, Eidos Montreal announced that they've laid off 27 people. They're the developer for Thief. So they that's kind of a normal layoff thing when a game just ships. Normally there's a down staff thing that you enter as a company. You staff down, you ship your DLC, then you start pre-production on your next game and then get going. So that one wasn't too surprising. Machinima, the online service for game videos and other stuff, they're restructuring. Recently their CEO left, or their co-founder, Alan de Bevoise. I probably just axed that name horribly, but he left, and basically they have an acting CEO. They're looking for a new CEO, and part of that process is they laid off 42 people, which is a pretty big percent. It's 23% of the staff. So pretty much a quarter of the people that were working at Machinima are now not working at Machinima, which is kind of surprising.
Well, and there's some speculation that Warner Brothers is actually looking at that company and possibly buying them out. And so some people are speculating that has something to do with it as well. But you would think either you would wait until things were pretty solid or at least announced before that were to happen. So
yeah, a lot of times you see that they want to make the company look better for acquisition, so they get those salaries off the books, and then they sell the company, and then that company that buys it ends up usually replacing most of those jobs anyway because they were there for a reason. So yeah, Machinima laid off 42. But the biggest one is Disney, Disney Interactive. This is more the mobile branch of Disney Interactive, not the console branch. So Disney Infinity and stuff didn't really touch that at all. But they laid off 700 employees. That is a ridiculous huge number. And basically what they're saying is that our Disney Interactive branch, we just haven't done really good. We've had a lot of failures. And we're slowing down the game releases, and we're restructuring and we're refocusing our development efforts. I don't know. It's for a big, huge company like Disney Interactive already laid off a whole bunch of people, like a large number. And then they acquired acquired Lucas. They got rid of a lot of the kind of LucasArts game developers, and then staffed down. And then they laid off some people that touched the Disney Infinity people a little bit, and then now they're laying off 700 more people. So I'd like to see in the last year how many people Disney has laid off there, which is sad, very, very, very sad.
It's crazy because I mean that's an entire company right there.
Yeah.
This is one of the best years Disney Interactive has ever had.
That's the ironic thing, eh?
Yeah, it is. But I also think that's a part of the reason behind it is they're trying to refocus on their successes and kind of trim the fat, so to speak.
Instead of doing what they're doing, maybe they're going to have 6 different teams working on Disney Infinity properties, because that seems to be what's making them the money.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I'm okay with. I like Disney Infinity. So,
I mean, like that was the first thing I thought of, but then I was like, well, that's dumb because we know Disney Infinity 2 is well in the works, and yeah.
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
Yep.
It looks like my video has completely frozen here. I'm going to go back. Oh, that's really weird. I'm stuck with my mouth open.
I was like staring at you, and I was like, is the video frozen? I was like, and then my head moved. I was like, no, just you.
Wow. Crazy.
Such an attractive pose. For everyone listening, I'm really, really bummed out you're missing this, because this is...
I don't even know what I can do here without screwing up the rest of the video. Yeah, I look stoned and derpy with my mouth open like that.
I feel like you should let it go since you are frozen. Get it? Get it?
Are you going to break into song?
No. I've saved that for the after show.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, how about you take the next one, and I'm going to see what I can do about getting my video unstuck.
Okay, next up, Twitch signs a 3-year deal with to be the official streaming partner of ESA. And ESA is the ones that are behind E3. So they are the official E3 streaming partner, and this is huge. I mean, Twitch is on a roll right now, and I mean, this is I think a bigger deal maybe for Twitch than it is for E3. But so what this really means for Twitch is they will be the ones, all official conferences will have Twitch. So convention attendees will see Twitch feeds on monitors placed around the hallways. So if they're not able to get into a conference hall, then they are still able to check that out. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. And your video is back up, Lloyd.
Yeah, and my colors are all screwed up, but nothing I can do about that.
So I don't know. I mean, Twitch is on a roll, right? They announced this week that they're releasing an SDK for iOS,
Yep.
So you can Twitch from there. Next week, Xbox One is getting Twitch. This is turning out to be like the year of Twitch streaming. Last year was the year of Luigi, and this year is the year of Twitch.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And it makes sense. Like E3 has always had a streaming partner, but usually it's been like G4 and like GameSpot. But this year now it's Twitch. So the cool thing is Twitch is free. You don't have to have a television channel added to your lineup to watch it. You don't have to watch the stream on your Xbox or your PlayStation 3 necessarily. You don't have to sign up for a pro account at IGN or a GameSpot. You can just go to Twitch and watch all this stuff, which is a great thing. I love Twitch. I mean, I've been using Twitch to stream my live shows for about 2 years now. Back when it was Justin TV, and then they just spun up Twitch, and I was like, well, I'll check that out. It's gaming focused. Let's get our stuff on there. And it's amazing to see how much this company has grown in a couple of years to having their stuff built into all the consoles, to the mobile SDK like you were talking about, Will, and even more so for Justin.tv, which was a successful company, to change their name to Twitch and start to like sunset kind of the Justin.tv stuff because they're focusing on gaming. It's really, really crazy to see that happen.
Can I ask you a dumb question?
No questions are dumb. There's no dumb questions, just dumb people.
Well, it's relative, and I can oftentimes be dumb. So you be the judge of that.
Okay.
So was it just in, like this just in
No.
.tv?
No, there was a guy named Justin that was live streaming and and was doing that. And then he started the company, and then I don't know where it went from there, but it was basically one guy that was basically doing life casting where he had a camera on him at all times and he was streaming 24/7.
Well, that's what, and this is actually why I wanted to bring it up. That is why their best move ever was to turn it into Twitch, because I hated it. I used live stream and Ustream before Twitch because I was like, well, this is stupid. I was like, that guy, he thinks way too highly of himself. I'm not going to support him.
I don't even know Justin. Justin won't give me the time of day. I'm not going to support his product.
Exactly. So I'm glad for that reason alone. No, I'm actually more glad because it's the gaming centric side of things. But yeah, it's that's funny. I had to ask because for the longest time I thought it was Justin. And one day I was like, is it just in? Like this just in? I'm sure it's probably a play on words as well, but yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, let's move on. This week there were some interesting announcements. The interesting thing to me is that it kind of means that the Ouya, the little console that couldn't, is finally dead. It's not dead. You can still go to the store and buy them. You can still buy them online. But the Ouya company, whatever the company is called, I think it's just called Ouya.
I think it is Ouya.
Their founder came out this week and basically said that they're starting a new initiative called Ouya Everywhere, which is ridiculous. But anyway, what this is they're going to be offering an easy way for other Android device makers, manufacturers, set-top box makers, all that stuff to basically bake in the Ouya experience into their console. So essentially what Ouya has become is just another app store on the Android ecosystem. So it doesn't really even make sense to why it exists, because you can already, as a developer, you can already put your games on the on like the Amazon store. You can put it on the Google Play Store, and do you even need to put it on Ouya anymore if it's just another one of those outlets to get games?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I call this the let's cannibalize the only thing we have going for ourselves that's already fledgling.
Yeah. And I think it's a move because they weren't selling enough consoles. So this was like we want to take 30% of all these game sales. But is that going to work out for them? I don't know.
Well, and I guess I could see it making sense in some ways if it unifies everything and Android does that and Google Play does that for you. Mm-hmm. But especially, and this may exist, I don't own a Ouya, so you can tell me, but especially if they included like automatic cloud saving of games. So you pick up on your mobile phone and you pick up where you left off from playing on your Ouya or your tablet, and having a certain expectation of quality and also curation.
Yeah.
I can see some benefits in there as well. And I mean, I think this is kind of like their last ditch effort to unfortunately be successful. I mean, the Ouya it had gotten so much hype, and I think a lot of people weren't really sure if it was going to work or not. And they had, I wouldn't say a disastrous launch, but it definitely could have been much better than it was.
Well, I mean, they raised $8 million on Kickstarter. I mean, that's not bad. That's nothing to sneeze at. And then they raised, I think, was it like 75 million or $100 million through venture capitalists? So they were able to get some VC money in to continue launching it, pushing it forward, doing all that other stuff. So I mean, it's not horrible what they did, but at the end of the day, I mean, they're competing with the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and even the iOS App Store and the Wii U, of course. Like, I'm not going to forget Nintendo, but they're really they wanted to have the hardcore core gamer experience. And I mean, I can do the same thing on my iPad. And then I can AirPlay it to my TV if I want to watch it on the big screen. And now that iPads have controller support, I can do that way. And if you have an Android tablet, you could do it even better because you don't need any sort of stuff. You just buy a controller and get like one of those Chrome stream little Chromecast things, which I have one and I've used it once, so that was a great purchase for me. But yeah, you could use that. The Ouya doesn't really need to be there. So unfortunately, I have one. I haven't turned it on since like way before Christmas. It's just gathering dust. I'm gonna have to turn it into something. Maybe I'll play emulators on it, or I'll turn it into some form of media streaming box. But I already have an Apple TV, so I don't really need to do that. So I think it was just I was happy to back them on Kickstarter. I thought it was a cool idea. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out quite like I hoped it would.
Yep, sad news, but oh well. We'll see what happens with that. Exactly. It could gather a little bit of steam. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah, it could. This could be a good thing for them. Like, what if they come out with an app for the PlayStation that you can load on the PlayStation? That would be cool. Doubt that will happen.
Sony
would never allow that. Like Microsoft or Sony would never allow that. But I mean, they could do something like that where you could play these games on a console, for example. Like partner with Nintendo. Like, I mean, none of this stuff would ever happen. But I guess this gives them a little bit more flexibility to kind of look at that. What if the next TV that you bought has Ouya baked into it? I mean, as one of your smart channels on your smart TV. So instead of just having a Facebook channel and a Netflix channel, maybe the Ouya would be the next channel. That could be something. But again, I mean, is it maybe too little too late? I kind of think it is.
I mean, if I was a bet man, I don't think it's going anywhere. But at the very least, because of the Ouya, you're getting Towerfall next week, and that's not the only indie game to start on the Ouya that's going other places. So, as a consumer, it was a success in that respect for us as gamers.
Exactly. Towerfall, by the way, got a 9.5 on its review on Polygon.
The new one.
The new one. So
it comes out next week, though, right? It comes
out next week, but the review came out today.
That's awesome. I missed that.
Yeah, it's I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. All right, let's move on to some more stuff that we have to wait for. We'll just do a couple quick news items before we get into the rest of the show. The first is the next iteration of the Batman Arkham series has been announced. It's called Batman Arkham Knight, and it looks like it promises more of like a GTA kind of play style where you can drive around the city and you're not just like tied into this little tiny area of Arkham. You can drive around Gotham City and do things and stuff like that. But there hasn't been very much news about the game. I'm kind of excited. Did you watch the trailer, the 3.5 minute trailer that they released?
Yeah, the trailer was awesome. I mean, I always look at pre-rendered trailers as just entertainment, and I mean, what the trailer did for this game is it let us know that the Batmobile is going to be drivable in game, and that's pretty much it. But I mean, it was entertaining. I just don't put much weight in those things.
one of the cool things is they announced Harley Quinn will have a playable part in this game if you pre-order it. So it'll be kind of like the Catwoman pre-order bonus where you could play as Catwoman for a little bit. That's kind of cool. I kind of like Harley Quinn. She's psychotic and in the best possible way. So
right, in that hot kind of like you're scared to find her hot kind of way.
Yeah, where if I don't find her attractive, she'll kill me. But if I do, she'll kill me. That kind of way. It's I don't know. It's interesting. It looks really cool. And if it really is like GTA set in Gotham, I mean, I'm there. I'm already there because I love this series, but I'm even more there if that is what this game turns out to be.
Yeah. Has a release of sometime 2014, and it's also important to note that this is going to close out the trilogy.
That's right.
What is the Arkham trilogy? So
yeah. Arkham Origins is not part of that trilogy, because that would be a quadrilogy, I guess, if that was included. But yeah, it looks good. I can't wait, and hopefully we'll have more news around E3. It'll probably be a late fall release, I'm assuming. So we can look forward to more Batman kicking butt on your next-gen console of choice later this year. Speaking of next gen, Watch Dogs finally has a release date. May 27th is when that's going to be coming out. That's another one. That's a couple days after my birthday, so that'll be
awesome.
That'll be a birthday present to myself, is picking this game up. And it will basically be it'll be shipping on Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, and PlayStation 3 and Windows. They're still working on the Wii U version, but they don't have a release date for it, which I guess means it will be canceled before release.
I hate to say it, but that's exactly what I'm expecting. I mean, if they can't even give like a window, it's so close to, it's probably done now, now it's testing.
Yeah, I think the reason for that is the Wii U version is being developed by another studio. All the other ones are being developed basically by the same studio. So they had to outsource the Wii U development, and I guess it didn't go well, or maybe they don't really have the money to pay for that because they don't anticipate a lot of sales. Like, I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, I mean, if Watch Dogs doesn't come out on the 27th, well, it might as well not even come out as well, because it's not going to sell very well. Then they're basically going to come out and say, see, like, core games don't sell well on Nintendo. We only sold a fraction of a percentage that we did on the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One. Yeah, it's kind of crappy. So anyway, Watch Dogs, May 27th. Put it on your calendar and get ready to play. And there was some interesting interviews that came out around that. They basically said the reason why it was delayed from when it was supposed to be out for the console launch for the PlayStation 4, they basically said the reason why it was delayed is because it wasn't fun, and they had to spend more time making it fun. It was too repetitive. So they finally, I guess, had some extended playtest stuff, and they just like, wow, this isn't fun at all. So they made those changes, and now the game is, I hope, fun.
Yeah, I dig that. It's very good. This was really interesting to me because it was so candid, and you might think, okay, well, it was supposed to come out in November, and now it's coming out in May, and that's, I mean, what they do in that time, they made it more fun. They finished the game essentially, and then they realized it's not fun.
Yeah. They forgot to set the fun variable to 1 or true when they were compiling it, so they had to go redo that.
I mean, if they can objectively look at that and say that and delay it for 6 months or so, that actually provides a little more confidence for me, because it's a big thing, but that's not what causes game delays very often, if ever. So the fact that they did that, and they've had this extra time to fix whatever was making it not fun, I think it's still going to be a really good game. It may not be the best game ever, but I expect it to at least meet my expectations for it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, moving on. Our last news story of the day is a weird one, and that is the announcement that there is a Last of Us movie that is in pre-production right now. Screen Gems basically bought, they optioned it, I guess. So they're working on a movie for Last of Us. It's going to be Sam Raimi, Ghost House Pictures, and Screen Gems. I don't know why you'd want a movie for a game that was pretty much cinematic from start to finish. I don't know why a movie needs to exist, but I guess it was really popular and they want to capitalize on that, I guess. It's just a really, really odd thing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the game, and I actually feel like since Neil, what's his name?
Blomkamp?
The Neil Druckmann,
Neil Druckmann.
who was one of the executive producers on the game.
Right.
And he actually directed all the live act. Well, you saw the Last of Us documentary, right?
Yep. Oh, that was so good.
It was amazing. So for anyone who hasn't seen that, go make sure you watch it. It's free on YouTube, and it's well worth the watch. But anyway, Neil directed that, and so he's writing this, and he co-wrote The Last of Us. So for that reason alone, I have some confidence. I mean,
Sure.
Not that it's needed, but I'm hopeful that it's going to be good.
To chat in the chat room says, is Ellen Page going to star in it?
My money is no.
Hilarious. If you guys don't remember, there was some attacks online that the Ellie character was basically based on Ellen Page, and she didn't get any royalties for it, and she was pissed off. She had some nasty interviews right around with the game release and stuff like that. That would be the ultimate thing if she starred in the movie and made her money that way. I guess it would be hilarious. It would be a apology to Ellen Page, I guess, which would be funny.
Yeah. I read an interview with Troy Baker, and he said he hasn't been approached yet, but he said he would even love to just play a clicker or something. And I'm like, that would be epic. He's one of my favorite VO artists for video games, and if he's in the movie at all, I mean, I don't think he could do a live action version of Joel.
No,
he's too pretty for that. But
yeah, he doesn't look gruff enough.
Mm-hmm. But cool. Yeah, I would love to. It would be awesome if there's an Easter egg of him being a clicker or something.
Yeah, or instead of a director's commentary on the DVD, there's him basically just
in Joel voice,
rotoscoped over top of the whatever actor is actually playing Joel. And
that would be awesome.
The pretty version of Joel taking part in this movie. Yeah. I mean, it's like, if you want to watch the Last of Us movie, you basically take all the cutscenes from the game and put it together, and you have about an hour video that you can watch. I don't know why this has to exist, but there's money to be made, so it's going to be made.
Well, and who knows? It could be like a potential sequel. It could not star Joel or Ellie. It could take place in the world. But again, I mean, that world, to me, I've seen more post-apocalyptic zombie movies than I can count, and I don't need another one. I mean, that wasn't what made that game interesting. The world had nothing to do with it. It was a relationship. So
totally. And I mean, they weren't zombies, which was the most interesting thing going into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was even just kind of forgotten, where it was the story of a guy and basically an adopted girl, essentially. Like near the end of the movie, you essentially feel like they're family. Like there was that much growth in their relationship from the start of the game to the end of the game. And that's not a spoiler. I mean, that's what the game's about. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool. The emotional roller coaster that I was on while I played the game was just like, holy crap, a game made me feel all these feels, and it was a good thing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that's it for news. Let's get into what we've been playing, and I'm actually playing one of the what we've been playing things as we speak. But Will, why don't you start off with what you've been playing?
All right. So my list again is short this week. So I did finally beat Lego Marvel.
Very good.
Such a good game.
Did you get your 1,000 gamer score?
No, I didn't. I was lazy. And I honestly, if I didn't have to play it like 1 3/4 of a time, because you have to go back through to collect stuff to move on or to get your 1,000 gamer score.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to do it again. I mean, I had a lot of fun, but there's nothing worse than losing.
You're missing all this. There's this stuff you're missing. You could have got a lot of those.
I could have. You know, honestly,
it doesn't even make that sound on Xbox One, does it?
No, I think it does.
Yeah,
I think it. I gotta remember.
Different?
That's a good point. No, I think it still sounds the same.
Okay.
So played and beat that. I had kind of one last draw on Battlefield 4. So Battlefield 4, even though I don't really like the game too much, it's my social game that I play with my friends. So that's why I tend to play it pretty consistently. But we're like, let's get on this one last time before Titanfall comes out.
Sure.
So that was that. Neither one of those really count compared to this next one. So I played the Project Spark beta, which is, for those that don't know, is available to any Xbox One owner. You just have to download the game.
Oh, it's open to everybody now.
It's open. It's an open beta. You do have to request a beta key though, and mine took.
Okay.
And you can do that directly from the site, actually, or I mean from the game. If you click on request key, it opens up Explorer on your Xbox One, and you can request a key. It took 2 days. They said it can take up to 4 days, but it took me 2 days to get it.
Nice.
So Lloyd, I don't know how much you've been following this game.
Yeah,
but
I kind of want it. That's one game that I would get into like crazy.
It's so you guest on the Inside Infinity show a lot, and Inside Disney Infinity, it has a mode where you can create and program. This is what that should be. It's insane. This game is programming with a nice shiny polish over it that makes it easy to understand for everyone. I played the demo. I mean the tutorial, the first tutorial. I created a character. I had to program pressing the A button to jump, but if I just left the action stand as it was, then he would just keep jumping by himself. So I had to end the trigger, and then I had to put down a enemy, and I had to give him enemy AI. I had to create a sign that says once you get to this point in the game, you are done, and then I had to create a timer to tell you how long it took until you completed the goal. And then I also had to fade to black and add a game over screen. I mean, it literally is a game creation tool, and you're limited, I think, only as far as assets go. And I mean, you can't custom the type of AI, I guess. I
Sure.
mean, you have pre-programmed stuff in there, but I was completely blown away with the complexity of the game. I went online and I looked at, because it's been out on beta for a long time on Windows 8, well, at least a month or two now. And so there's a lot, and that's another cool thing. It's cross-compatible, so you can make games that work for both systems. And I think by default they have it set as that. I think the only limitation is you can mandate whether a controller is required or not. But because of that, there's a lot of great content that's already created, and I literally downloaded a questing, I mean, an entire RPG. It has an XP system, a leveling up system. It's insane.
I saw a video of someone that made a Flappy Bird clone in Project Spark, and you could play that. Yeah, it's essentially programming, like you said. I think the beta is a little bit more limited than what the actual release will be, where you can basically make everything. So you could custom make your AIs and your and the patterns and the attacks and all that stuff. Like pretty much anything that you could do to any assets will be editable on the full release. Super exciting, and like you said, like the Disney Infinity Logic toys that you have it's like, I don't know, it's like building a house out of Lego compared to building a house out of like everything else that would go into a house. It's just so amazing what you can do in Project Spark. Not that Disney Infinity is bad. It's on a totally different level from what Disney Infinity is. Really excited for it. It's one of the games that they announced at E3 that I was like, oh, I kind of want that on my PS4. But yeah, unfortunately, I'll have to wait till I get my Xbox One.
So, and I'll be honest, I haven't played it enough to really find out the intricacies of this. But the only thing I'm worried about with this game is it has a freemium model that really scares me. I haven't, from what I've read before I got into the beta, I was hearing stories of like you paying per 30 minutes to create and play.
Ooh,
that
really?
scares the hell out of me.
That's not cool.
It's not, and again, I don't want to say that's exactly how it is because I didn't come up to any sort of paywall when I played it, but I also didn't play it for. I played the.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, did we lose Will? That was like mid-sentence. He dropped out. Okay. Well, we'll hopefully you'll get Will back and then he can continue his comment. We'll jump into what I've been playing. So, first off, I picked up free the latest PlayStation Plus free title, which is it's Dead Nation Apocalypse Edition, and that is a dual stick zombie shooter that is again the freebie for PlayStation Plus on the PS4 this month, and been playing that, and it's fun. I played the original Dead Nation on the PlayStation 3. We have Will back.
No idea what happened. It quit on me.
You froze mid word on Skype. So yeah, I played the original PlayStation 3 version of Dead Nation. So I was excited to get the PlayStation 4 version, just because it's a good game, but mainly for what Will and I did, which is the Broadcast Plus mode that is built into it. And we talked a little bit about it last week, but if you didn't hear last week's show, if you hit the Twitch streaming button on the game while you're playing it and then choose your game mode, you can choose Broadcast Plus, which then puts this metagame over top of the game. So you'll be in the game and a little chat bot will be running and it's like, okay, vote now. Pound A for extra health, or pound B to spawn a zombie horde. And then you have, whenever someone casts a vote with pound A or pound B, just by entering it right into the chat room on Twitch, it starts a 30-second countdown timer. And then everybody else that's in the chat room can vote A or B, and whoever wins, that happens. So, like, Will was being extra evil and spawning zombies all the time. Then he took pity on me and made it a little bit easy. And then he was like, oh, it's too easy for him now. And then went back to doing evil things. And I played this for about 4 hours one night. And I had 5, 6, 7 people in the chat room going back and forth. And 90% of the time it was something really bad that made the game harder. But then sometimes they're like giving me extra power-ups and stuff. And it was just this really cool way to play this game over again. Although one thing is incredibly evil and I hate it and it shouldn't be in the game, is the ability for you guys that are watching me play to take away my dash move, because that is like the lifesaver. You get swarmed by zombies, you dash out of the way, turn around and spray them with bullets. Well, you can take away the dash move. And one night, the last person that was in the chat room voted for my dash move to be taken away and then proceeded to just quit. So I had no one in the chat room. I had no way to get this back. And it was like, what do I do now? How am I going to beat this game if I can't dash? So it was incredibly evil, but so much fun. You enjoyed watching it, Will?
Oh, this was one of those rare video game moments where I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, you don't get those moments where you're like, this is so new and interesting. And I will tell you, even though it was just me in the chat, primarily for the session that you and I played together. Well, see, I even said I was watching Twitch and I'm playing a game with you, and that's how cool it is. And this is the most entertained I've been watching a Twitch stream of ever. I mean, I've never been that entertained, and it was hilarious. Like, you would, another cool thing, and I don't know if you talked about this while I was gone, but it put people in the chat, it put their names in the game. Yeah. So every once in a while, like, you would kill me.
Yeah. And take this, Will. I'm going to shoot you in the head for spawning more zombies. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was cool, and so I would revenge, and I'd spawn more zombies.
It was great. And I mean, this is just a little throwaway game, kind of. Like, it's not a $60 console release, but it kind of gives you a taste for what like big AAA development teams can do now, because Twitch is on PS4 and it's on Xbox One, and they could have this type of integration on the console. I'm really excited for what's coming down the pipe in the future.
Yeah, I was so excited about this. I didn't tell you this, but I was so excited about this when you ended your stream. I called up one of my gaming buddies and I was like, dude, you gotta hear what just happened. And I'm like telling him about, and I'm telling him like about how it's like Twitch plays Pokemon, but but different because it's zombies and not cute little animals, and it was cool. I dig that. I can't wait to try that game actually, just for that reason alone.
Yeah, it's good. I'm gonna do some more streaming of that this weekend. I think that'll be the one that I play through and try to beat the game in Broadcast Plus mode with people making it incredibly difficult for me to do so. It's gonna be great.
Nice.
All right. Next up, I played a lot of Strider. I actually beat Strider. I didn't beat it with 100% completion because it is ridiculously hard to find out what items you're missing on the map. When they're hidden items, they don't show up on the map, and there's no item you can get to make the hidden items show up on the map. So you'll be walking through a section of the game and you're at 96% for that section. And it's just like, I don't even know what I'm missing. I don't know where it is. So that was a little bit annoying, but I enjoyed the hell out of Strider. It was probably one of the best $15 that I have spent on a console, like buying a $15 game for as long as I can remember. It's a roguelike action game, so it reminded me a lot of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, just because of the kind of sword attack and double jump and the different powers that you get. It reminded me a lot of that. And it was just fun from start to finish. The bosses were such a pain in the butt, which was awesome. Like they were really difficult, but not impossible. And if you went at the boss the right way, used the right combination of sword attacks, because you could choose the different sword attacks. The normal one, you could do one that is freezing, one that has fire associated with it, and one that has like gravity type stuff associated with it, and you'd have to choose the right one depending on the boss that you're doing. And it was so much fun. It's available on the PS4 and the Xbox One, and also on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, I believe. And I played on the PS4, and I loved the hell out of it. It was a lot of fun. You watched me play that a little bit, didn't you, Will?
I did, yeah. It's pretty. That's the thing I notice about that game is, and it's kind of deceiving because it's a 2D side scroller, but it was really pretty.
Mm-hmm. It's really, really good. Really, really good. When I first started playing it had some weird slowdown issues where like the frame rate would go down to like 5 frames a second. And it wasn't because there was anything happening. There was like wind blowing and rain. So, and even then, I mean, it's on this crazy powerful console, so that shouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh crap, this is how it's going to be for the rest of the game. Got past that section, never came back. Loved playing it from start to finish. So check it out if you're looking for a fun game to play and you have $15 burning the hole in your online wallet of choice, depending on which console you're on. Also played a fair bit of Thief, and I'm still playing it. I'm about halfway through the main missions, and I've done a lot of the side quest stuff as well. I know, Will, when we were talking previously, I didn't like it. I wasn't getting it, wasn't feeling it. I took a couple day break, and now I've gone back to it, and I'm actually enjoying it kind of. It's not the game that I thought it was. It's not the game that I really wanted, but it is fun to play. So maybe I'll beat it over the next couple days and maybe talk about it next week. But it has some like really weird things where the map system is weird, where it shows you exactly where you need to go, but you can't get there because you're in the wrong part of the world, and you have to figure out a way to get to the other part of the city. Even though the map shows that it's connected, it really isn't. And you have to find like these little piles of boxes and then hold a button to get through them. Like, I think I was streaming and I'm like, how do I get there? How do I get there? It's like, oh, I have to hold square at this pile of boxes that looks like you can't get through it, because you can't get through it unless you hold a button, and then it kind of goes in. For a game that's on next gen systems, it's on current PCs, it's on PS4, it's on Xbox One, to have that many load times between sections is just unforgivable. It should be streaming. You should be able to get from one part of the world to the other without any load time. It's using Unreal Engine 3, so maybe that's part of the issue. Maybe there's some engine limitations, but all of its problems aside, I'm actually really enjoying it now. So I'm playing through it. I was being like super stealth guy, where I'd slink through the shadows and hide and do the stuff. The last couple of missions I did, I just like put arrows through the head of the people that were standing there guard, and they fall down, and I take their coins, and then I continue on with my game. So you don't have to be crazy stealthy in this game if you don't want to. So maybe that's why I'm finding a little bit more enjoyable, or a little bit more enjoyment out of the game right now, because I'm just like basically shooting people in the face with arrows. And when they fall, you actually see where the arrow went through their head, and it actually is still through their head. So I was carrying around a body earlier today to get it out of sight, and he had an arrow pretty much from one ear to through the other. It looks like that arrow through the head gag. And my wife Kara comes down and she's like, "Did you know you're carrying a guy that has an arrow through his head?" And I'm like, "Yep, I put the arrow there. I know he has an arrow through his head." She's like, "All right, just wanted to be sure that you saw what he had through his head." So it was just, I don't know, kind of bizarre little thing in the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty funny. And last but not least, I've been playing Bravely Default on my 3DS.
I don't believe it.
I'm playing it, and I'm getting through it, and I'm having a lot of fun while doing it. I'm trying to find my playtime. I don't remember how to do that, so I can't prove how much is my status. No, it's not status. I can't find it. Anyway, I'm past there's like a prologue type thing where you have to beat a bunch of bosses and do stuff. And I think it took me about 5 or 6 hours, or maybe about 5 hours to get through. And that's with leveling and doing some other stuff. And now I'm into chapter 1, which is like kind of when you get really into the game.
Nice.
I'm loving this game. I decided to not fully beat the demo and almost fully beat the demo, and then just started this game, and I'm really glad I did. I'm enjoying it. If you're looking for a JRPG, a lot of people that I really trust have said that this is the best RPG to come out in years. And I'm playing it, and I'm not very far into it, so I can't say that, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it, and I can't wait to get back in and play some more. I played this today instead of my PS4 because I was enjoying it so much. So that says a little something about this game.
Awesome.
And
I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are, like, more as you get more into it. But I've heard great things about it too, and people in the forum are always talking it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get in the forum and get in with Corky Dog and say, "Yep, it's awesome. It is really good." That's what I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of stuff. I'm looking forward to playing some Stick of Truth eventually. I got to pick that one up, and some other stuff as well. But really enjoying my PlayStation 4 right now. So I'll be playing a lot of stuff on that this weekend. So if you want to watch some streams, just head on over to twitch.tv/VGPod, and you'll be able to watch as I play some games, whatever those games are. Probably Thief and maybe some other stuff.
Yeah, and make sure you follow too, because if you follow, you will get notifications, and you can adjust the notification settings, but you'll get emailed or text messaged if you want, or push notifications on your devices too.
Yeah, so if you use the iOS app or the Android app, you can have it send you a push notification whenever it goes live, because it's something that you can do in that, and that's really cool. I tried setting it up for myself, and apparently you don't get push notifications when you go live, which makes sense, because why would you need to know when you went live? Because you just went live. But I'm assured that it works, because we'll pop into the stream sometimes when I go live.
Yeah, and if I may, for any of those Xbox One fans out there, I will be streaming on the VG Pod Twitch channel next Tuesday evening, and if you're interested in watching that, make sure you come to the site and check out the forums. I'll be announcing it then.
Yeah, it'll be great to watch some Ready for Titan drop. And
I'm just doing it to make you jealous. That's really all, because you've been Twitch streaming from your PS4 so much. I'm like, finally, I have something Lloyd doesn't have.
I got to tell you, I'm really tempted to go pick up an Xbox One just to play Titanfall. That's how much I want to play that game. So, I mean,
now's a good time. You get a free game,
I get it free, so I don't even have to buy the game. I just get it free.
Unlike the PlayStation, you can actually find a Kinect camera, so you could Twitch with video.
Yeah, I've been looking for a camera. They're just not in stock anywhere.
They're possible. Did you see GameStop even?
They've bumped the price by $20.
Freaking hate that company. May I just say that on the air?
I really don't like them at all. Back from when they ordered a shipment of a game that was rare on the Wii. They cracked all of the cellophane to sell it as a used copy for more than the retail version, so that they didn't have to put it on there for the MSRP. They could just say, well, no, this is a used version and it's hard to find, and they were selling it for $20 more. I don't really like games. It's EB Games here in Canada, but it's the same company.
Yeah.
Same company.
Yeah, I avoid going there these days unless I absolutely have to.
That's why I go to pnpgames.com and I buy all my stuff there. They have a really awesome online store for used games, old games, new games. Do check them out, pnpgames.com.
And they respect their customers, unlike GameStop.
Oh, they do. They do. They love their customers. It's kind of awesome. They're a local company, of course, and that's why I'm dealing with them. Not because I only buy local, but I choose to buy local when I can. But whenever there's like an anime convention or a comic convention or a sports card convention, or there's a retro gaming convention that's coming up right away here in Winnipeg.
Oh, that's awesome.
And PNP Games always has a booth set up, or they always donate all sorts of prizes. Like they're such an awesome local company. They're all about the gaming. They're not out just to make money like most companies are. They love the gamers in the town. They love gamers online. They love selling stuff on their eBay store and their website, helping people complete their gaming collections. They're just a really, really great company to deal with. So do check them out, pnpgames.com. Sorry for the extra little ad near the end of the show. Awesome. Well, that's all I've been playing, and I think that's all for the show, unless you have any parting words of wisdom, Will.
No, I think this was a good show. Got some fun, interesting news there. We got to talk bad about Xbox a little bit and got to talk good about PlayStation. That's always a fun.
I don't want this to be the show where we crap on the Xbox. I mean, that's not what I'm trying to do. It's like when the Wii was doing so well, and I did Wii Spot podcast, and then I started talking about Wii on other podcasts. They're like, stop being such a fanboy, and it's like, well, I'm not really a fanboy. I'm just talking about how good it's doing, and
right.
Just like last year, we were talking about how good the 360 was, and the 360 is selling more than anything else, and it led the NPD numbers forever. And that's kind of how it was, yeah.
I mean, if this was the launch of last gen, then we'd be talking about how great the 360 is doing compared to the PS3. So it's just how it is. I mean, it really is news. Like we said, we're not really fanboys. Just how it goes. It's the way the cookie crumbles.
Exactly. Yeah. No, there was a listener that sent me an email a while back saying to stop being a fanboy and I should be ashamed of myself, and is Sony paying me?
Well, you should, but not because you're a fanboy.
And my reply to that person was, I'm not a Sony fanboy by any stretch of the imagination. If I'm a fanboy for any console, it's Nintendo, because Nintendo has so many memories for me from when I grew up in the NES and Super Nintendo era. So, and then I never got a response back from that person. So I guess that was enough. That's all they wanted to hear from me. But yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, that's going to about do it for this episode of the DeREZD podcast, episode 6. We love that you guys are loving the show. We love hearing from our listeners. If everybody that's listening to this right now told 2 friends to subscribe to the show on iTunes, that would be amazing to get some more people listening, so that we rise the ranks on iTunes and we can reach even more gamers, because we think we have a pretty good show here, and we want as many people to listen to it as possible, so we can have more community interaction and get a lot more people watching us live, playing with us when we do community game nights and the such like that. We're going to be doing some more Minecraft next week as well, so if you guys want to watch us play Minecraft, just tune in. We'll be doing that soon-ish, like sometime early next week anyway. Let us know what you think of the show. VGpodcast.com is our main site. Click contact us at the top of the page. You can email us directly at vgpodcasts@gmail.com or call our voicemail line, which is 505-VG-Podcasts. Will, it looks like you have something to say before I close out the show.
I'm sad our time together is winding down. That's all that I was thinking about. And you might have saw a little bit of a tear, a glisten in the corner of my eye. No, I'm good.
Yeah, we'll be together soon again, Will. We can talk again and hold hands and dance into the gaming future together.
Yes, and if I'm lucky, I can spawn loads of zombies and kill you again.
Yes, zombies, bombies, jumpers, slicers.
What was the one? Mouse or something like that?
Mouse, the ones that howl and call more zombies in, which is always great because you spawned a bunch of mouths, so there's like 3 of them, and I had to go hunt them down, and all the while they're spawning more stuff. Oh, it's just crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. Good fun in that game. So come watch the stream. Like, whenever you're bored, check out vgpodcast.com/live. Check our Twitch channel or subscribe to our Twitch updates, because what we're going to want to do over the next little while is most nights try to have something going there, and have some interaction with the community. We still want to get our community game nights off the ground so we can play with you guys that are listening. We want to become a show that you guys want to listen to, and we need to know what you want to listen to become that. So definitely send in your feedback, send in your voicemails, let us know what you like and what you don't like, and we'll see what we can do about changing things to get it to be the perfect mix of awesome for all you people out there.
Because everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. All right, guys, that's going to about do it for this episode. We'll talk to you in about a week's time on the DeREZD podcast. Take it easy, everybody.
See you later.